Welcome to Behind the Scenes at Forbidden Planet. This time with my good friend, our group book buyer, the immortal Ms. Laura Dodd. How are you, mate?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well indeed, thank you. Now, of course, one of the things that we've been talking about in some of these behind the scenes sequences is actually what the nature of a buyer's job is, because unless you've worked in retail, and I spent a lot of my career not working in retail, you never really think about the fact that there are people whose job it is to buy the stuff that we all buy as customers from a store. So what does being the book buyer, the group book buyer for Forbidden Planet entail, mate?
It's quite an interesting, quite a varied job, and it does kind of change from day to day and week to week, depending on what's happening in the wider world and what films are happening and what's happening on Netflix, special editions of beautiful books and things like that. So it's all it definitely never gets dull. So
yeah. No, I know you're constantly busy. So one of the things that Laura does, in addition to a group book buying job, is that she presents the author strands with me on FP42. So we recently interviewed Ben Aronovich, didn't we, mate? And we recently interviewed Victoria V.E. Schwab, who's a wonderful person. And one of the things that we're doing with Forbidden Planet 42 is launching Forbidden Planet Television. And we've got a whole bunch more author interviews coming up in the near future, haven't we, mate?
We certainly do. There's quite a few amazing things coming up in the next couple of months, definitely.
Yeah, true words, mate. And speaking of amazing, when you look back on your time as a book buyer, who are the people that you've had, say, the well-known authors you've had the best experiences with when you look back on it?
I think that there's been quite a few, and I never take it for granted because I was a huge reader for many years. I worked at Waterstones for 10 years. I worked at Indie Bookshop as well, where I used to manage before I was here. So I'm like a huge book geek first and foremost. So there's been so many authors. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet. I suppose my one biggest one from last year was Garth Nix, because I've been a fan of his for many years, and it was the first kind of opportunity I got to meet him. So I got my very yellowed copy of Sabriel signed, and I was very, very happy about that.
Fantastic, mate. Oh no, that's brilliant. I mean, such an amazing talent as well. It's always great to meet the creators one loves. You know, it's such a buzz. Actually, like say, you know, we're blessed to be able to do things like that. And you know, I know one of the other things that you do is you've chaired a lot of our panels at various events and our our author panels and whatnot. And that must be a real pleasure to do.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose this year, obviously being as it is, we haven't really had the opportunity to do the conventions and MCMs as we would normally. So I have kind of missed a little bit of talking to authors and publicists and things, but everything's obviously video chat and stuff now. So another thing that's been keeping me going, so I help run an industry book club. That's for publicists and editors and agents. And that's been really fun to keep talking to the book trade about what's happening, and sometimes with a cold beer in hand, obviously.
Yeah, so. Well, of course, everything's better with a cold beer in hand. That's very, very true. So, mate, when you think in terms of books that you love and authors that you love, I know you were talking about Garth before, but what have you read recently, say, that's been released in the last 6 months or so that you'd recommend? What have been your top reads in the last couple of months?
Well, there's been a couple of things. I'm very lucky to obviously get advanced reader copies, and one of our special editions that's coming out in October, which is the new Stuart Turton. I managed to get an early copy of that to read, which was fantastic. So he was the author who wrote The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which was absolutely amazing. This is his second book. Very, very good. So definitely check out our lovely special edition. That was just a phenomenal weekend read. I'm currently reading Harrow the Ninth, which the author is currently signing many copies of this in her house. So I have to thank her in advance.
For Forbidden Planet, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So there's many signed copies currently stacked up, at her house. So thank you, thank you in advance.
Thank you very much.
And that's brilliant. I was just looking at the pile of books next to my bed. I'm rereading all the Holly Blacks because the new Holly Black short story collection's out soon, and I love Holly. God, there's so many things. That's why I have
you're
the camera
a person
this
after
way.
my own heart. That's what I always do is reread stuff when there's something new about to be released.
Yeah, because you might forget like a little, even if it's just a little sentence or just something little about one of the characters, and it just kind of brings it all back. So
thanks so much, Laura. I mean, that's so much awesome stuff, which we'll carry on talking about on Forbidden Planet TV as well. Have you had a message for our customers, our loyal customers, our fellow travelers, as it were? What would you say?
I've just got to say thank you to everyone for continuing to shop and believe in what we're trying to do. We're all geeks at heart here. We all have our own geekdoms. So you've got someone for everything here. So I just want to say thank you. And also thank you for the people who kind of stood by while I've been trying to kind of diversify a bit what we do in books and have like a wider reach for what we do. And it's been a lot of positive feedback. So thank you.
Quite right too. I think you've done an amazing job with that diversification, and long may it continue. I know you've got much more to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results myself. You have been watching Laura Dodd, our group book buyer. Thank you very much, Laura.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, and we've got, as Laura's covered off, there's a load more great stuff to see. Come back and see us both on Forbidden Planet TV, and have a lovely weekend. And we'll see you all soon. We'll see you in the store when the store reopens properly. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks, mate.